Hi, I'm Joe with Gramophone, and I can't tell you how pumped up we are today because tonight we're having an event that we've been planning for a long time. The absolutely gorgeous tribute to the long history between Bowers and Wilkins and Abbey Road Studios is finally here. And Kevin, we're going to be playing them for people for this is the first in the world, right?
First event in the world. This is, I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. This is going to be an absolute blast. And not only do we have the Abbey Road speakers, but we have the Marantz 10 series that are going to power these. So
yes, we do. And first, let me actually introduce Kevin. Kevin Zarro, VP at Massimo, which is Bowers and Marantz and a whole bunch of other brands.
More. Yeah. You want to list them all?
Not all of them. And we've worked together.
We'll just focus on Bowers and Marantz today. But I feel like I'm just like a house brand being here now. This is twice in 2 months now. We just got to do this every month.
I know, it sounds good to me. Yeah. So what we want to talk about a little bit today, we've been super impressed with your Model 10 series, which is a high-end premium 2-channel, really the finest 2-channel products that Marantz has ever come in with.
Yeah, I mean, it's I know it's a very bold statement, Joe, but I'd second that. I mean, I've been with the company for 34 years now, so I've seen us do a lot of audio over the course of those years, and this is the finest audio that we've ever built. And so again, I second your statement there.
Yep. So we did not a series, but one video about the series, and then Michael Sprague at Xpona actually did a deep dive with us into the premium quality parts that are inside here. Yeah. And we're going to actually talk about that a little bit. When I started looking at the videos we did on these products previously, and then I started looking at some of the other things that people have reviewed on the internet, we realized the Link 10N, for whatever reason, has not gotten nearly as much attention as the other products. And maybe we can talk a little bit about why you think that is. I have my own idea, but
well, when you think about high-end audio and you think about, how do you get the very best sound?
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it old school because it's still very relevant today, but there's the school of thought that says the physical media is the best way you can possibly get it. And if you've got a good internet provider and you've got really good service in your house, whether it's Wi-Fi or hardwired, the amount of content that's available in the cloud for you is, it's unlimited. And products like the Link 10N, they provide high resolution, 192, 24-bit, DSD. So many different ways to get that content to your house. We got to spend more time talking about the Link 10N because it is such I don't even want to call it a unique piece. It's such a flexible piece. And, sometimes when you use the word flexible, people are like, well, so it's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. No, this is a jack of all trades that masters them all. Yeah. It is the best source product that we've ever delivered.
And I think also because it is a unique selling proposition, you could say, this literally is a product as a preamplifier. That means you can just grab whatever's your favorite power amp and go. So if you've purchased a power amp 5, 10, 15 years ago that you're still happy with, but maybe you haven't upgraded to a really sophisticated streamer, this has everything you need right inside, right?
Yeah. Joe, great point. People always talk about, you got your speakers, you got your amplifiers. In what order do you upgrade those? Well, I got a pair of 801s right here I love. I got an amplifier I love. But my preamplifier is maybe antiquated. I don't have streaming. I don't have balanced. I don't have this, that, and the other thing. And so the Link 10N is just that perfect replacement. It is, it's interesting. You said the word streamer. This is a flagship preamplifier with streaming built in.
That's right.
Again, it's what are we, mincing words?
No, that's
not
exactly
mincing words, but
is.
It's like, we just wordsmith it differently. And just to take a 2-second step back, just to introduce the 10 series to your customers.
Absolutely.
So the 10 series, the new 10 series consists of 3 components. So the Model 10, that is your integrated amplifier. And the flexibility there is it could be an integrated amplifier by itself. You can literally shut off the power amplifier section, or it could be a dedicated power amp shutting off the preamp section, or it can be what it was intended to out of the box is an incredible integrated amplifier, 250 watts into 8, 500 into 4, and it just keeps going from there. It is, as I said earlier in the conversation, I think this is the very best amplifier that we've ever made. The second component would be the SA-CD10, and people still laugh. They're like, you guys still make CD players? Absolutely. Marantz has, I'm not even going to count how many CD players in the line, but we have dedicated CD players, dedicated SA CD players, and then CD streamer, so that, you know, if you're that customer who has a huge collection of compact discs, but you're making your way into the streaming world, SACD30N, for example, would be a perfect choice for you. And then finally, the last component in the 10 series for now is the Link 10N, and that really is an incredibly flexible piece. It is a world-class preamplifier. Got a great headphone section, got a great phono section, and then it's got our streamer built in that is second to none. And I love this, and I'll just use my system at home. If you remember the video we did a few years ago, I had my Project T1 tube amps.
Yep.
I had my 702 signatures.
Yes.
But I was still using, or well, I still am using a SC11. That's got to be a 20-year-old Marantz preamp.
Okay.
This is going into the system.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change my amps at this point in time. As good as these amplifiers are, I'm just not going to change my Project T1s right now.
Yeah.
But in that system, I have a SACD player, and I also have a streamer. So I can eliminate, you know, two components, if you will, with one. Well, really three components, if I think about that, with just one, and not sacrifice anything. So phono preamp, as good as what's in the Model 10. Headphone amplifier, as good as within the Model 10. And just, again, a world-class preamplifier and a great streamer built in as well. So
yeah, world-class preamp that happens to have outstanding streaming, because you really have hit the nail on the head. It has both moving magnet and moving coil phono cartridge capability, as well as a really good headphone amp. I mean, if somebody's got the absolute most over-the-top headphones on the market, they might want to go for a separate headphone amp. But the overwhelming majority of people who have really good headphones at home are going to be more than happy with this headphone.
Absolutely. And the same thing with the phono stage. And you know, you won't probably get this on camera. Well, you'll get it on camera, but you might not see this in the YouTube world. But we are using this as a preamp today, and we're using the streaming inside of this. So in our demos tonight, when we actually start demoing the Abbey Road 801s, we're using the two Model 10s. So one Model 10 for each speaker. And this is actually the preamp. So we're using those Model 10s as dedicated power amplifiers. And we're doing 250 watts of the woofs and 250 watts of the tweeters for each speaker. So it's an incredible setup here. But that's how flexible the Link 10N is.
And there's no way that a vice president at Marantz and the other brands that you guys have would ever even think about using this as a preamp, and not using the preamps in these two, just using these two integrated amps as power amps. There's no way you'd do that in the world introduction of the 801 D4 Abbey Roads, unless you were very confident of how good this is. Yeah. In our listening, it's fabulous. It's a really nice sounding product.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things that I wish we had to share with your listener or your consumer is the part selection. Mm-hmm. I mean, these are, I don't even want to use the word audiophile. These are for the person who just loves music and they just don't really want to compromise. The part selection in here, the Toretto power supply, the HDAM modules, all the discrete circuitry, the use of copper, the double, triple layer bottom plates. I mean, the machining on the stuff. And it's all basically handmade. It's all handmade in our Shirakawa facility with a very small group of factory workers who take just great pride in what they do. Probably should add a Shirakawa section to this video right here so that your listener, your customer can see literally just what goes into these.
Yeah. So, well, what we are going to do, of course, is put a link to the video that we made with Michael Sprague, where he just very simply took us through all the different component parts that are in here. And there's a couple things that I actually want to highlight real quick that he mentioned in that video. But the quality of parts is kind of astounding. But because I have worked for a premium amplifier manufacturer in the past, I know that one of the most important things in any preamp or power amp is, have you shielded everything correctly? Are you keeping all that noise down? Because when we listen to music, there's a lot of relatively inexpensive amplifiers that will go really very loud. That's not so much the issue. But if your noise floor is vanishingly low, that's where you get that audiophile quality of the black background, where it just seems so relaxing to listen, whether it's at low volume levels or loud. And a ton of that has to do with how carefully you've laid out all the circuit boards, how carefully you've, especially all the copper that's in here, all the shielding that's inside. This is a quiet preamp.
Yeah. Well, and this is going to go back years ago, but our very, very first flagship streamer was the NA11. And that was, again, 15 years ago, 10 years
Mhm.
ago. But we were 95% done with that product. And we were going through all the listening tests and all the measurements. So there was still something, the engineering team was just like, there's just something that's missing. And they kept going back to the drawing board, back to the drawing board. And what they found out, like at the 11th hour, was the networked input. The
Ah,
the network card was creating a tremendous amount of noise that was really hard to isolate. They're trying to figure out, where is this coming from? And so they redesigned the NA11 again. How many years ago? They redesigned the entire network section to make sure it was completely shielded. And well, with so many iterations have come and gone since then. But again, the fact of the matter is, I mean, we start thinking about these streaming devices. They're as much computer
yep.
as they are audio.
Yep.
And so the amount of care that has to go in to shield, nobody cares if a computer's noisy, because it's not doing anything. But you have to take great care in a product like this to make sure that you're not introducing any noise. And so the team has done that. And like I said, I appreciate your comment. We are using this as the preamp to drive 2 Model 10s as power amplifiers to drive the Abbey Road edition speakers. And it's just that good. And like I said, I mean, selfishly, I can't wait to get one for myself. And I've had to wait because, as an employee of the organization, your customer,
Yeah.
our customer comes before any employee does. And so, but
Yeah.
finally, production's caught up, and I think I'll be able to put one of these in the system soon. So if we do a video in my office, you'll see that behind me here. So.
I love it. Maybe just a couple things as we start to wrap up the video. One of the things we haven't even said so far is that there's a lot of components from a lot of brands that all kind of look vaguely the same, maybe a little stylistic difference here or there. This is some of the coolest looking product that we've ever seen, either in the champagne or in the black.
Yeah. Cosmetic design to me is fascinating because I can love something and you can be like, eh. And so vice versa. I mean, what is that old? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
But when you go through these transitions, they take years and years and years. And not to bore you or the audience, but back in 2000, we redesigned regular Marantz, non-reference when I say regular, non-reference Marantz. And we put a brand new chassis on there. And that chassis, our code name was called M1. Yeah. And that was the code name. And that chassis had the rounded side panels. That was based on what at that time was the brand new reference chassis. So, but obviously a costed down version of that. And then as we went through, we had that chassis on our line longer than any chassis we've ever had before. And then when we brought out all the new Marantz stuff, the Cinema series and the Model series, this chassis was actually based on that. So it was reversed. So the old chassis was based on the reference. The new reference chassis is based on the Model series, but just amped up, elevated up significantly. And I agree with you. I mean, we call it, if you're at a retail location, it's a sea of black boxes. But the cool thing about Marantz is it actually stands out, and it stands out in a really good way. And we like to say that, the Marantz customer, it can be beautifully displayed on a shelf like this. Or if you have a whole house audio system and some of the stuff's in a rack, it looks as good in your living room as it does in a rack. So, but please don't ever put this in a rack. Keep it out so everybody can see it. So, like free advertising for us. So.
Kevin, any wrap-up comments that you want to offer outside of a quick one that this is actually, of course, a 2.1 channel preamp. So it's not just stereo. You do have subwoofer,
you have a subwoofer output.
Because I think for a lot of customers, one of the easiest upgrades you can make to your system, if you're basically kind of happy with it, add a subwoofer. It can make a tremendous difference to how much you enjoy it. Because after all, so many of the lesser expensive speakers, one of the things they don't do well as a better speaker is really give you that deep bass.
And again, Joe, I know how much time you've spent with these, and I appreciate you bringing up, the little intricacies like that. I mean, you think about in the music world, especially in the high-end music world, there's still that belief, oh, don't add a sub. And subs are wonderful. Yeah. And again, you don't have to add a sub. We don't have a sub in this room. These 801s are going to produce a tremendous amount of low end. But if we wanted to, we could add one, we could cross it over appropriately, blend it right into these speakers, and everything would be great.
And that's really the key, is that a properly blended, both physically, and then electronically, a properly blended sub is a wonderful thing. If you just, plunk a sub down, maybe it's just going to boom away and you'll hate it. But anyways, Kevin, anything else you want to add?
Well, I wish you guys could be here with us tonight. This is going to be an absolutely incredible event. And again, I know that some of you might not believe this. There are some of you out there that are like, oh, the Model 4400 or the Model 9s or the Model 8B. Yeah, the stuff was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I happen to own some of that stuff, and I would never put that down. But I know it's a bold statement. This is the best audio that we have ever built. And for those of you who get a chance to listen to it, especially, come over here to Gramophone. They have it on display, multiple displays, and you can pick and choose the speakers you want to test it with, but it will not disappoint. So
we love it that you folks share our passion for great sounding music and great videos. Kevin, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you for joining us. If you haven't thus far, please like and subscribe. That helps us out a ton. And you can always visit Sky by Gramophone to check out and learn more about Marantz and all kinds of wonderful products that they have at all kinds of wonderful price points. You can also come visit us because we'd love to meet you. We have stores in Timonium, Columbia, and Gaithersburg, Maryland, and we can't wait to talk to you about what would be the best thing for your system. Thank you again so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.